Well, you'll never know the heartache of looking a grown man in the eye, and he asked, am I gonna make it? And you've got to lie. Well, they call me Doc, but I ain't got no degree. When shit hits the fan, they're calling for me. From bluegrass Kentucky, with red blood on my hands, nobody calls me hero except for my friends. Yeah, they call me Doc.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Rod Doc Walbecq, United States Navy Hospital Corpsman veteran. And joining me today is my guest co-host, United States Army combat medic and fellow blood brother, Joe Misfit Glenn. And welcome to our very first episode of Sick Call with Doc. And before we get into it, I'd like to introduce the man behind the scenes who's made all of this possible. The creator of the podcast Every Day is a Saturday, and our executive producer, United States Marine Corps combat veteran, Brian Devil Dog Roof.
Oh.
Hey, buddy. This podcast was created to provide a platform for veterans to connect, share their stories, and explore alternative approaches to healing. We believe in the power of open communication and supporting each other. Here, veterans can speak freely about their experiences without judgment or censorship. On Sick Call with Doc, you'll hear the unique personal stories of heroism and the sacrifices our fellow veterans have made, not just while serving the country that they love, but also since returning home. You'll listen in disbelief at times to the challenges and struggles our veterans face on a daily basis. You will learn about the government agencies and organizations either helping or hindering the healing process and overall well-being of our fellow veterans. You'll get a firsthand look at how our veterans have taken control of their own well-being, medically and psychologically, and are healing themselves, mind, body, and spirit with the use of cannabis. We are here simply to help our brothers and sisters heal. 22 per day is 22 too many. And when it comes to helping veterans, if it's not us, then who? And if it's not now, then when?
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother. And with that, if you would hang with me just a few more minutes, I'd like to recite the combat medic prayer. Oh Lord, I ask for the divine strength to meet the demands of my profession. Help me to be the finest medic, both technically and tactically. If I am called to the battlefield, give me the courage to conserve our fighting forces by providing medical care to all of them that are in need. If I am called to a mission of peace, give me the strength to lead by caring for those who need my assistance. Finally, Lord, help me to take care of my own spiritual, physical, and emotional needs. Teach me to trust in your presence and never failing love. Amen.
Amen.
And one last one for everybody that I think is very important. United States Navy Hospital Corpsmen take a pledge as they graduate. And I think if you want to know what a corpsman is, if you knew the pledge, you'd understand. So we raised our right hand and we said the following. I solemnly pledge myself before God and these witnesses to practice faithfully all of my duties as a member of the hospital corps. I hold the care of the sick and the injured to be a privilege and a sacred trust. And I will assist the medical officer with loyalty and honesty. I will not partake of nor administer any unauthorized medication. I hold all personal matters pertaining to the private lives of my patients in strict confidence. I dedicate my heart, mind, and strength to the work before me, and I shall do all within my power to show in myself an example of all that is good throughout my naval career. And with that, that's why we're here, helping our brothers and sisters heal, both by getting the word out through cannabis and through camaraderie. How you doing, Joe? We're here, buddy.
I'm doing good, Doc, man. That was a great intro, man. I just love those, like the creeds and stuff like that, man. It really hits you, especially when the goosebumps kick in,
Yeah, it's rare that I get through that last sentence without getting a little,
Tearing up. Yeah. It just shows that you took it seriously, and that's a big thing with us docs. The ones that were called doc, we took that time, we earned all that, and we care. We truly, honestly, deep down care, and that's why we were successful.
Yeah. So Joe, you're an Army combat medic. In fact, you've seen both sides of the house.
I have.
So tell me about your time, if you care to share your time in, and how you ended up deciding to help.
Cool. I appreciate, first and foremost, Rod, having me on here, giving me this opportunity to share my story with the people and possibly help a little bit more as doc. My military career was quite extensive. I was all over the place. It was only 13 years. I say that lightly, but I joined in 92, right? I'm from California. I was born and raised there, Los Angeles County. At 17, I entered into the delayed entry program, okay, which was a program meaning you're signed up, just finish your school and turn 18 and you're ours, right? Yeah. My mom couldn't sign that thing fast enough because where I lived, all my friends were in trouble and I was next. So anyway, 18 years old, I go to Benning as an infantryman. That was my first choice. I scored high enough that I could have been what I wanted to be. At least that's what they said. So I think they tell everybody that. But I chose infantry. I was young, full of it, and needed to go prove myself. So go through training, became a arrogant, cocky young man like most of us do, and ended up going straight to war, right over to Somalia. So I got over in Somalia in 93 as an infantryman. I was an 11 Charlie mortarman. But during the days when we weren't providing illumination, we were doing the stuff with the 11 Bravos kicking indoors and all that stuff. And so anyway, lost a lot of stuff over there, especially my sanity. Got to see the world for what it really truly is and what people are truly capable of. So it changed me. After that, we get back and I had a CIB, 18 years old, 19 years old, combat tour. Ended up getting sent over to Haiti during President Adid's outing, and we were trying to get him back in there, I guess, was the idea. That place was out of control too. Ended up getting back from that, had a break in service for about a year or so, and through all my struggles, didn't understand that I had PTSD from all this, or didn't understand. This is before we knew what PTSD was. And so, through a couple of kicking and screaming, waking up in the middle of the night, people in the way taking a little bit of the heat, me not knowing that they're kind of stuff, just kind of acting out of character. We started to know that I was losing my shit, but just figured I was just being aggressive. Didn't know it was related to military service. So anyway, I was really upset that I needed to do more. I watched my brothers, and because at the time it was just brothers. I was in infantry. It's all men, all males. Never dealt with the female aspect, but they were all getting hurt, and I didn't know what to do. And that feeling was something I had never experienced before, and I didn't ever want to experience it again, especially when my brothers could have counted on me. So I decided to become a medic. So I reclassed over to 91 Bravo. And with the infantry mentality, it didn't go very easily. It just truly didn't. They didn't know what to do with me. And so anyway, I trained, got nationally certified as an EMT, became the medic, of course. and went to Fort Campbell and got attached to a forward support unit, 626 FSB. Well, my background, they automatically put me into being armor as a medic. So now I'm an armor medic. And then I got attached over to the Rakkasans, first, second, and third bat as needed kind of thing. And so I went right back to the infantry as the medic. So I'm a medic in there with 2 CIBs, right? And they loved me for it because they knew they could count on me, right? And that was the thing. That's how you become doc. They could count on me. In the heat of the shit, they knew it. And so anyway, I get over to Afghanistan. Long story short, to go over to Afghanistan as a medic, and I had my squad, of medics, and I ended up just getting attached to the Norwegian mine clearing team, EOD, Rakkasan. Wow. I also worked with the I think it was no, it wasn't 160th Med. It was either way. It was a flight med, and so they had the the Black Hawks that would bring people in, and I had an ambulance, and so we just did all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And it was really fun. It was bitching. I loved teaching my soldiers stuff, and in the heat of it is when you learn the most, man. Man, it was like fluid for me. I was just really good in the heat, and they knew it, and that's why they always put me where the heat was. But anyway, I ended up getting hurt during Anaconda, which was a big old thing over there. And did another 3 months being beat up. I didn't tell anybody because my idea was, a messed up doc isn't a good doc. And so I was going to tough it out, and I did. So 3 months after that or so, we get redeployed home. And I go to the doc, man. I had 5 tears in my right rotator cuff, and my C-spine was destroyed. So paperwork started to be sending me out, man. And so that's when the pills kicked in heavily. And it didn't stop for a good 16 years.
Wow, Joe.
Yeah, man. And so, that was my military service. And that's, I could have stories for years about my military service, but that's the breakdown of why I am here today and who I am.
Well, we have kind of similar stories, but not even similar at all. But there's similarities.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So so when I joined the Navy, I was 19 years old and didn't want to stay in a small town, so I just wanted to get the hell out. And I thought it was my only way. Was no money for college, and so what are you gonna do with the rest of your life? And so in April of '84, I joined. My dad said, "Don't sign nothing." Today, I went and signed, and I became a non-designated striker, which means. So, what do you want to do in the Navy? I don't know. Well, we've got something really special for you.
Yeah, yeah, they have it in the Army too, man. Yep.
Yeah, we've got something just up your alley. So I ended up out on a ship as a deck seaman. With the ability to become something once I got a chance to look around the ship and pick a job. Some of those jobs could have been on the job training. Some of those jobs required you must go to school.
Right.
And so, when I checked aboard ship as an E1, 2, 3, whatever, you turn in your medical records different places. Your medical records, your dispersing records, your personnel records. And when I got to sick bay, here's this enlisted dude, E6, feet up in the air conditioning, drinking coffee at lunchtime. And I'm like, I want to be one of these guys.
Yeah.
Thinking it was the easy way out, And so what I had to do was first of all, I had to wait for the guy that was already in there working as a striker. He ended up getting in trouble. So he booted out of that program and became a bosun mate. He wasn't allowed to do it anymore. So when that happened, of course, I went in front of a professional development board. Let me be a corpsman. And they said, okay, you can work as a corpsman after hours. And so I would work in sick bay 4 hours a night after my shift, my day shift. If I didn't have duty, watch. We were out to sea and stuff. So I got to do that for a while, do some courses, go back in front of the board, do some more courses, go back in front of the board. And before you know it, I'm on a Westpac on a deployment in Persian Gulf. We had to replace the Stark who had gotten hit back in 85, 85 time frame. The Stark got hit by a pirate ship with a bomb or something like that. I forget now. And but we had to go relieve her. So I ended up in the Persian Gulf and went in front of the board one last time. I was working in sick bay full time at that time. No more Bozamate stuff. And I got orders to school. So they sent a helicopter out, grabbed me off my ship, took me to Bahrain, Spain, Philly, Detroit, San Diego, all around the world in 90 days as a 19-year-old. And I went to school to become a corpsman in Balboa Naval Hospital. Pretty historic place. All the people that they shipped back from Pearl Harbor came to Balboa. They got a lot of influx of wounded from Pearl Harbor. So that was pretty. It's a really historic place, and it was an honor to learn there. The last 2 weeks of course is clinical. You go up into the hospital itself, and I got landed in the surgery unit, which is the hardest patients to take care of. You know that. Yeah. Penrose drains hanging out of them, and liquids and bandages, and like the whole 8 hours you're with one patient. I mean, it's just constant changing things. Anyway, I got to go to from there. I went to Millington, Tennessee, at the Naval Hospital, which was all aviation students in the Navy, all the young kids, and a Navy hospital for anything big, and for all the retireds and veterans. We had a big veteran retirement community there, so they used that hospital a lot. From there, I got married and went on to Keflavik, Iceland. I got to spend 3 years there, Maiden 5, supervisor of the emergency room, mass casualty trauma coordinator. I made sure all the boxes were the right color. I made sure all the stuff that was in there doesn't expire. Crash carts, all that, all the admin stuff of being an LPO in an emergency room. And I put in for, when I first got there, I put in for independent duty corpsman school. And they said, you're not an E5. I said, don't worry about it. I'll get it. You just get it for me. And they said, okay, you make E5, we'll get it for you. 3 years later, I'm getting ready to transfer. I forgot all about that. Decided I wanted to be a Navy corpsman, Navy instructor. And so sure as shit, I got approved. They came back with my orders, and a week later, independent duty orders show up. So this dummy is sitting there with the 2 greatest orders a corpsman could probably ever get. So I went to my Master Chief, and I asked him, I said, what do you think I should do, Master Chief? And he said, you've been accepted to independent duty corpsman school. You can always get reaccepted. If you keep your nose clean, you'll do great. But you may never, ever get a chance to teach corpsmen how to be corpsmen. And I took that to heart. Yeah. So I got to go teach. It was kick-ass.
Hell yeah, man.
And so what happened was Desert Storm came about. And so I I wasn't a combat veteran. I'll bring that out in the open right now. I was not a combat vet. But I did take it real seriously, training kids that had to.
Absolutely.
And then I got out. So here we are. Yeah. All do their own gig. Everybody's got a different story, all the same, but all different, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love hearing everybody's stories. They're just beautiful most times, and especially if you pay attention to their emotions that come with that, you can tell just how much it meant, when those emotions come up.
Absolutely. I think back of my time in, it was an absolute privilege for me. It was an honor. There's been days I really think about it and say, I can't believe they let me be one of those guys.
Yeah.
like that was for the badasses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if it was ordained to be or meant to be. Why my desire to be lazy turned into a desire to take care of people so much. When I went to corpsman school, it instilled in me the pride of a corpsman. I mean, it wasn't easy to to be a corpsman. It was not easy for me.
No.
And they really taught you how to be humble. and understand how many have come before you. You know, when I don't know, I'm not sure the numbers for Army medics, but I've looked up the corpsman ones, and there's no more decorated rating in the Navy. We've been at war with the Marines or without since the Revolutionary War. There was, they called us lob lolly boys. And I always thought it was because you lobbed the arms and legs off the boat when the surgeon was done taking them off, you know. Turns out they were the guys that passed out the food. To the
Got you.
Yeah, porridge, you know, on board those old wooden vessels.
Wow.
You know, and it transpired, it's transitioned from there to ship stewards to pharmacist mates. And so like June of 1889, I think, was when corpsmen were created as hospital corpsmen. And we've been at every war, every Beirut. We lost 13 corpsmen in Beirut. You know? Yeah. And we lost one hospital corpsman with the 13 at the airport in Afghanistan.
Really? That I didn't hear. I didn't hear that.
Yeah. And out of the Navy, I mean, you're stuck in a position to earn those. That's why there's so many of them, you know. Right. It's not that the other people didn't deserve stuff. It's just that we were always put in a position where you earn those medals through either posthumously or alive, you know. So it was really an honor for me, Joe. It really was. And now for us, for you and I, to help people without big pharma, and help them with cannabis, hear the stories of people who forgive me, they were at their end and found cannabis without ever using it before in the past.
I'm one of those people.
Found a way.
Absolutely, Rod. That's a thing, man. It saved my life, I assure you.
So what we're going to do on this podcast is tell those stories from those veterans. And if that helps one, if one can go, well, if this girl has this stuff wrong, and this is what helped them, then maybe we'll try that and we'll see if it helps.
I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about opioids and narcotics as opposed to cannabis. I lived that 100%, and those opioids and narcotics almost killed me. Legitimately almost killed me. If it wasn't for cannabis, I don't know where I'd be right now, Rod, if even here. Honest.
Well, so you weren't a cannabis person. So can you give me a little blip of how it turned over to turn the page into cannabis?
Shit. Yeah. I mean, I can go on because this took years. Right. But, you know, like I said, when I had gotten out, you know, the medication started and the drinking started. Okay. Well, the drinking started a little earlier, but it continued on. Right. You know what I mean? That started like before I even went anywhere. I started drinking in the military, but it got really bad, you know, with the medications and I'm talking, morphine, methadone, hydrocodones, Xanaxes, all the psych meds. I was taking 23 pills a day, some of them, or maybe even most of them 3 times a day. I was taking these damn pills, right? Ended up getting narcotic and opiate bowel syndrome and getting down to like 119 pounds, man. Every time I took a step, I'd throw up. Wow. So I go and get worked on, and they say, this is the problem. I went to the civilian side and they told me what the problem was and how I could fix it. And that was stop taking your narcotics and opiates. And so I weaned myself off. Being doc, I knew a little bit and didn't have to go mess with the VA at this moment because, well, I didn't necessarily trust them because I was a good soldier. I did exactly what they told me, exactly the way they told me to do it, exactly how many times they told me to do it. And it almost killed me. And so I lost a lot of trust. So I weaned myself off. And I had never touched cannabis. It had been around me my whole life, you know. My kids did it at the time, you know, and I'd be like, get that shit out of the house, you know, just like what a dad would do, you know, because I couldn't have it in the house. It was illegal, right? That was my problem with cannabis, is illegal. I didn't want no part of it because I watched my people, my friends, my family get in trouble for it. So anyway, I started doing some research on cannabis. My son turned 18 years old, so dad can say, I did my job, right? I don't have to lead by example anymore, right? So my youngest turned 18. I am 2 weeks clean off of medications and really, really fucking hurting, man.
Really suffering, dude.
I was suffering, bro. And so I take my wife out to the porch, man, and I said, honey, so what do you think about me smoking? And she looks at me like, cigarettes? And I was like, no, cannabis. And she's like, oh. She go like, did you do your research? And I said, well, yeah, I did my research. And, you know, because that's just who I am, right? And so she's like, I think it's great. So what did I do? I come in the house and my boys, you know, at this time, they 17 and maybe 15, right? And so they're sitting on the couch, you know, being bored because they're at home with dad and mom. And I look over there and I said, boys, go roll me a joint. And I went back to doing what I was doing. And so there was silence. And so I looked back up and they're looking at me like, is this a trap, you know, kind of thing. I said, you heard me. Go roll me a fucking joint. And they bounced up and they went and rolled me a joint. And we sit out on the front porch and me and my boys smoked my first joint. And within 2 minutes, I felt so good. I was smiling first and foremost. Then I was giggly. And then I noticed
get hungry.
and you guys got to understand, man, it was 15, 16 years that I sat on a couch, man, and didn't say a word. Didn't talk to my boys, didn't talk to my daughter, didn't talk to my wife. My wife would bring me my stuff. That was, I mean, I was like just a bump on a log, man, straight up. Anyways, but once cannabis kicked in, and there's a long story to that, but once cannabis kicked in, man, I noticed this is something. And so I started smoking it on the regular, and I noticed that my pain level was like maybe at a 1 or 2 when I'd wake up in the morning, right? I noticed all these things that were incredible that I started relating to those medications were exacerbating the freaking problems, making me need more pills, you know? And so anyway, I realized a lot. I got really wise after starting cannabis, man, because I realized a lot of shit. And then from there, it went absolutely ham. I started growing it, and then I started getting really good at growing it. And then I started, you know, teaching about how to grow your own shit. And man, I'm telling you, it is a beautiful thing. And I hope I can instill that thought in a million other people's minds.
We got to remove the stigma to it.
Yes. Yes.
All pushed upon our society in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And told everybody this is your brain on drugs and then they classified it as a Schedule I drug.
I believed it and I lived it, Rod. That was absolutely
for about 2 hours or something, you know.
Yep. You know, and I bought it too, man. And no, it is not anything they said. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, I try to be a man of common sense.
Yeah.
If it's grown in the ground and it helps people and is not a gateway drug like they say,
right?
And it helps you cope in a day's time, it's better than $100 to a person who doesn't know what your problems are.
You know, I have a problem with the whole gateway drug thing.
Nonsense.
I mean, you know, if we want to go there, we could just say breast milk is a gateway drug, because every crack addict had breast milk. Okay. I had breast milk. Everybody had it. So we can just relate it to that, right? Yeah, all I'm saying is it's mentally, your gateway is in your mind, man. It's not the thing you're using or not using.
So when we talk about cannabis use and how it affects different people differently because of the cannabinoid system, the endocannabinoid system, and the terpenes and the cannabinoid. Here's what I found. This is me. Probably some post-traumatic stress from childhood, I'm going to guess. Sometimes situational depression.
That makes sense.
I didn't save every single person I did CPR on in the military. And for some years, I had dreams of that person's family, you know, like crying at a picnic, and I'm at a picnic and they're and I know it's the person's, my mind created that family.
It did.
The guilt of not, they're trying to show me that, hey, he's not here no more. You didn't save him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a little bit of that.
That's a common problem, Rod. I suffer from it too, man.
I mean, I'm proud of the people I helped save,
Mm-hmm.
but including my own wife. But the ones I didn't, they always get you, don't they, Joe? A little.
They do. They stick with you, man. But there's the thought pattern that you got to understand, that you truly did everything you could. You know why? Because you are that guy, and I know I am. I know deep down, I care. I will give my life for you, right? And so I know that I did everything I could at that moment, and you have to trust in that. Once we start to trust ourselves again, right?
Yeah,
it starts to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and I think having to perform CPR on my wife and her life being saved, it really washed a lot of that other stuff out of my mind.
Good, yeah.
If I did the same exact procedure on every single person and 3 didn't make it and 5 did,
Mm-hmm.
I almost like I had to forgive myself without even having to forgive myself.
Yeah.
With my attention deficit disorder and my PTSD, sativas have seemed to be the thing for me.
Okay.
They uplift me.
Mm-hmm.
They make me focused and creative. I can multitask better when I've smoked or ingested a sativa.
Nice.
For me, it works. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody with PTSD and ADD.
Right. And for me, Rod,
work for you.
For me, sativa is the absolute no-go for me. I have to have indica. Now I'm working with it because I just love cannabis that much. I'm working with sativa to try to get myself right, but my mind is all over the place. It's overactive to begin with. So I use cannabis to slow it down so I can focus. And maybe that's ADHD. Never been diagnosed, don't want to be. It doesn't matter. This is me, and I'll deal with how I operate. And so my brain is active, and I need to slow it down at times. I do want to work with sativa so I can get that energetic creativity going on, because I'm an artist. I draw, I carve wood, I grow things. I just, you've seen my growing stuff. My bonsai. Yeah. I'm an artist with cannabis. Even I do, whenever I can do art, I will. And so I need to have that creative mentality instead of the fog, and I know what I'm talking about with the brain fog, and everybody else going to be watching this is going to understand the fog. And so that's why I'm working so seriously with sativa, because I know they can help me with that.
Yeah, you're definitely a budologist, buddy.
Yeah, budologist. I like that.
Budologist.
Heck yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and take a little break here?
Let's do that.
We'll get some word out for some other veterans for us. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Veteran Voice Radio, where we honor the brave and celebrate their stories through music. Tune in to 2 incredible stations, Ranger Rockwave and Simplified Country. On Ranger Rockwave, experience the raw energy of alternative rock featuring talented musicians who are veterans and military family members. Their powerful stories and unforgettable tunes will inspire you and keep you rocking. Switch over to Simplified Country, where the heart of country music meets the spirit of service. Enjoy heartfelt ballads and toe-tapping tunes from veterans and their families sharing their journey through song. Join a community that honors those who serve. Veteran Voice Radio, music with a mission. Discover Ranger Rockwave and Simplified Country at veteranvoiceradio.com, or you can also download the app on Apple or Google and let the stories of our heroes resonate through your speakers.
And we're back.
We're back.
Hey, so it's perfect timing then to give a big shout out to a group that you and I are very involved with on Facebook. And that group is Veterans Canna Community. For anybody listening who is a veteran, you can join this group. We're all there, and you can have some camaraderie. We'll bust your ass a little bit and have fun.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about cannabis. You'll learn what's helped others. It's a great place to be. And we do a lot of seed work for veterans for free. So, and I can't give it justice right this second. All I'm saying is you veterans out there who are either on the fence about cannabis or completely into cannabis as a medical option for you, either way, go ahead and submit and join. We'll ask you for proof of service, of course, but the Veterans Canada community, there they are.
Yep.
And come hang out with us. It's really it's a blast. It's been a life-changing, cool thing for me.
Oh yeah.
And Joe too, I'm sure.
Yep. You guys can learn how to grow. You can learn how to do things like that. You can, hear about different intricacies of the cannabis plant. They're all about the education as well. And as a matter of fact, some of my educational videos go onto this page as well.
Right on. I also wanted to take a moment, if I could, Joe, being a combat medic, I'm a corpsman. We got a lot more blood brothers and sisters out there.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of them.
So we decided earlier that we were going to give a big shout out to some of the people that we can remember that we looked up to as corpsmen and medics that did other things that, as a medic, did other things than we did. There are Navy SEAL corpsmen. Joe, what else? There's what else in the Army?
In the Army, we have all the hospital side, so we can go like to the nurses that can do a little extra stuff. But most of the time it's the combat medic on the ground. And then you have the different ranks that have the different, skill levels. And so it's all the same kind of job though. But
don't you have like sea and air rescue guys, or you medevac corps medics?
Yeah, we do have the medevac ones, and then you have the special guys, the 160th guys that work with the special forces guys and stuff like that. But I guess I should be thinking a little bit differently because I was mostly involved with all these people, and so I just figured we're all just medics. But I didn't go think about maybe the one that was changing bedpans. I didn't think about that stuff because I'm the out in the field kind of guy. Yeah. And we're always doing the crazy stuff. And so I just figured we were all the same. So I apologize for not.
No. It's okay. I was reading a bunch. I'm learning about corpsmen still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this piece, I think it's Wikipedia, that said that if you're not a field Marine Force combat corpsman, you're not supposed to be called Doc.
Oh, that's bull.
And that's what it said in Wikipedia. And I'm like, wait, let me give you, I'll tell you a quick story. We got time on this. We got a little bit of time.
Oh, we got it.
So when I started working in sick bay, the commanding officer, the skipper of my ship, knew I was an E1 deck guy. And I know for a fact that he got word that I was trying to become a corpsman. Or maybe he didn't. But here's the thing. When I got to go work in sick bay on my ship full time, the very first patient that walked through the door was the skipper. We were getting ready to get underway, so everybody had to get their immunizations up to date, typhoid, tetanus, all that stuff, right? So he came down for his injections, and the skipper walked in, and I yelled, "Attention on deck." I don't know why, just, and the first class corpsman was like, "At ease." And the skipper says to me, he says, "I'm here for my immunizations, Doc." I thought he was talking to the first class corpsman. He was looking at me. Day one, not even being a real corpsman. I was given the respect of a corpsman because of the job I was doing.
Yep.
And that's a very humbling thing.
It is.
For me, it's like, be like Elvis Presley walking in, "Hey, Rod," it's like, what? Something crazy like that. It was just so cool. Like, I was so taken aback that he called me Doc. It's like, what?
Sure. Yeah.
Being a 19-year-old kid,
I found that mostly with the infantry guys. Those guys would always show you that respect. And you want to talk about people that would protect you? Oh, man, I promise you, that's the one guy you do not want to mess with in an infantry unit. Yeah. Do not mess with Doc.
No. God, no.
I promise you, you're going to get hurt. And so that was always a good thing. I felt really good being a medic with the infantry dudes because I knew how they treated them. Because I treated Doc like that when I was an infantryman. I'll protect you. I'll take that bullet for Doc, I promise. Just good stuff. I don't know.
And once I started working in sick bay, even after hours, the respect that was given to the first class independent duty corpsman. It was just him, 365 guys and him.
Yeah.
He was in charge of all their medicine. Anything went wrong, man, if we were out at sea, it was on him. And I saw the respect that he got when I was working in deck. And it was something to aspire to. Shining bright work and working on wires, slushing wires with grease just didn't set with me as being like, the same.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not being a dick, but I mean, it's like, so it was just looking back at the journey of it. Besides my kids, man, there's nothing I've been more proud of. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of those moments in the medical field because I have a lot of prideful moments, man. Just like you said with your kids, and I have a lot of that too. But there's my military career. If you just put that over inside, there's hundreds of prideful damn moments, man, that I just can't forget. Just so proud of it,
I remember the first time I sutured a patient. It was like, what?
Really
cool stuff. Bedpans, not so much. Did a lot of those.
One thing. The worst job I had, there was two. There was two of them. But I don't like feet, man. I don't like feet.
Not a feet guy.
If you're in the infantry, man, your feet are the most important damn thing you got, minus your trigger finger and your eyes, But I was always changing or changing, moleskin out and fixing blisters. And I get on my guys. I'll be like, change your damn socks, man. What the hell? And so they always get a little heat from, Anyway.
Yeah.
I hated the feet thing, man. I hated it. That and the boils. I hated boils, man.
Boils are tough. Cysts were pretty tough ones.
Yeah, you give me blood and guts, and I'll put you all back in there, and I'll be cool, man. But you show me a corn, and I'm pissed.
I can remember suturing this guy's hand up in the ER in Iceland. And so here's my tray. I'm sterile technique, doing my suture. And I look over. There's my food. Like right over, 4 feet away is my tray with my food on it. I was eating, stopped, did the suturing. It didn't even hurt my gut. Making,
No.
We didn't use stomachs back then. Now I see some stuff. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I get all over the place too, man. And you give me a wrong smell and I lose it. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not that kind of corpsman anymore.
No, I just ain't the same, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so also I think it's important that we give a shout out to all of our Coast Guard hospital corpsmen.
Hell yeah! I wish I'd have met some of them. I don't know any of them yet.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting a Coast Guard corpsman. A shout out to all of our aerospace medical technicians in the Air Force.
Hell yeah!
And I'm not sure if the Force has any, but shout out to the Space Force medics.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah. I'd like to meet one of them too. Sure.
Yeah, and of course, the Marine Corps medics. Oh, that's us.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
So that's very cool, man. I can't wait to have our future guests on. We've got quite a roundup of people from all different walks of life. I hope everybody will come back and tune in with us and check it out. You'll learn some great stuff from some great veterans. We're going to have on people who are experts in cannabis with PTSD, hopefully. We're looking at a whole number of really different things so that it keeps it interesting and all walks of life can learn from this. And that's the whole mission. That's the whole mission, is for people to learn that cannabis is not the taboo that everybody, you've all been brainwashed to believe that cannabis, it hurts people.
Yeah.
Finding the right cannabis for you is just like finding the right medication for a medical problem that you have. We're not here to treat or diagnose. That's not our mission. We are here simply to show veterans and how veterans have saved their own lives through the use of cannabis.
And Rod, if I could, I wanted to say to everybody too, understand that we're just like the other veterans out there, the other people that suffer from this stuff, right? I have a brain injury. So I need to let you guys know, if you see me stare off into space or forget something, it's going to happen. And, but I'm not afraid to come out here and forget in front of you guys. And just to let you know that you're not alone, right? Rod's going to end up doing something like that too. And he may, I know if when I freak out or do something weird, I'm going to be nervous about it because I don't want to do that. But that's who we are, right? So I just want everybody to know that we're just human beings, man. And I'm going to be speaking from experience with PTSD. I'm rated, through the VA. I'm 100% total and permanent. And so with all of my injuries, and I'm going to tell you how cannabis helps me. Now, hopefully that relates to you. And I will give you other little things with cannabinoids and how they can affect you, and terpenes and how those can affect you with as you go, and foods to eat with your cannabis to intensify the effects. We can talk about these kind of things, and just literally shooting the shit. I'm no expert. I don't claim to be. I'm just somebody that cares enough that I know I can help you with it, with the information I have.
Ditto.
Yes, and that's the whole purpose here, is just to spread this love that we have found, and everybody needs.
I second that emotion for sure.
Agreed, man.
Yeah.
And
so I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that everybody will come and join and take a look at our podcast. If it helps anybody in any little way, that's what we're doing this for. And I hope you'll join us all. Anything else, Joe?
No, that's it for me. I'm excited to talk with some guests and share some more stories, man.
Yeah, we're going to drop a story every week. Starting this one right here is going to drop on Veterans Day. So I hope that on Veterans Day, while you're celebrating, or people are coming over to love on you because you're a veteran, tune in and check us out.
Hell yeah.
It'd be pretty awesome.
Can't wait to see y'all.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.